All right, guys, welcome back to the Morning Mayhem. It's your boy Chris coming at you with another episode. Super excited to have you guys with me today, and looking forward to have a quick show today. I have a special guest coming on in just a little bit, and we're going to just kind of kick through a couple of topics real quick. Not spend a lot of time in them. It's surface level stuff, so I think we're just going to hit that. Move on into our interview. Got a great interview coming up. I'm really excited about, so stick around for that. But guys, welcome. Hey, how are you? Good to see you. I missed you. I didn't see you last week on the regular show. We didn't do the regular show last week because we did have our first of the month live stream, which is what we do the first Monday of every month. It's Monday Night Mayhem Live. Had that with the Common Nerd, Tiny But Fierce, and a couple of guys from the Talking Nerds who have been on before with us, and had a great time. We did some nerd conversations and looked at some of the stuff coming out this year, some stuff that's already come out this year, and just had fun. You know, didn't get overly political or crazy as far as that goes. Just had some real, some easygoing time, an easygoing stream without getting too far out there. So if that's something you might enjoy, go check it out. I'll leave a link in the show notes below, so you can go check that out. Yeah, we do that the first Monday of every month. Hope you guys will come around next month. Actually going to be doing, because Easter is in April, we will be having a faith stream. We'll be having a stream about faith. I've got some great guests coming on, some repeat guests coming on, and we're going to be talking about the Lord. We're going to talk about faith. We're going to talk about maybe Easter a little bit. Since it's then, I'll have actually another interview coming out that I'm going to be doing specifically for Easter with my pastor, and I'm really excited about that. But yeah, we're going to have a great conversation about faith with some great folks that have different perspectives of things, and ultimately the same mission, goal, belief, and that is that God is God. God is good, and the only way to God is through His Son Jesus Christ, and Christ is King. So we are all united under that banner, and excited to do a show, talk about it, just kind of normal folks talking about it. We're not going to get super preachy or anything, but just having some conversations, share some stories and whatnot. So be on the lookout for that. I'll be announcing more of that in the next week or two, and who's going to be coming on and everything. Speaking of keeping an eye on it, look down there, right down there. Yeah, in the show notes. Way on down there. Yep. Those are my links. All my social media links are down there, so follow me anywhere you want to. Pretty much at My Morning Mayhem, X, Facebook, Minds, True Social, whatever. It's all down there. At My Morning Mayhem is my handle, pretty much everywhere. So follow me, and I will say I'm mostly active on X as far as the social posts and everything goes. So definitely follow me on there, and interact with me as much as you please. Or as little as you please. Probably the little part. I don't get on there as much as a lot of people do. I'm not the most socially active guy. So there's that. All right, guys, before we roll into the show, I will say again, going to be a pretty short show this week. I do have a special guest coming on later I'm super excited about. I'm sure that will take a little time to speak with him. But as far as the rest of the show goes, I'm going to keep it short. And I know I say that sometimes and I really don't. And things just kind of drag on. But I say all that to say this, is that I've been going hard and strong for a year straight. And, missed a couple of shows for one reason or another, taking it off to be on somebody else's stream for special events, or had the live streams and want to take it off. Or I do the filmmaking and videography. I had to take some time off to do some of that stuff. But for the most part, I've always had content out there. But I do want to say is, as we were finishing the school year, my daughter, who is in gifted classes, she's phenomenal in everything she does in sports and school, and just being an awesome kid. And you guys who've been watching long enough know that I love being a dad. I love being her dad, especially. She's such a great kid. We have such a great bond, a great relationship. But she's been sick here and there and everything, and missed some school. And so because she's in gifted classes, they move super fast. And so when she misses, she gets kind of lagging behind, and it's hard for her to play catch up. And I didn't even know it, but she's in 6th grade. She's taking 6th and 7th grade math in 1 year. being in gifted, I guess. So that's a lot. All that to be said, she's fallen behind a little bit trying to play catch up. And so what I have noticed this week, and I'm extremely tired right now, is that I am spending all my time after work basically working with her, coaching her, helping her with her homework, extra class work, just spending time with her and investing into her. And her grades are starting to improve, and she's starting to grasp all the things, which is great. Seen a great return on that, and obviously enjoyed my time with her. But that being said, it is pushing me back on the clock for everything else that I'm doing, like this. So I don't want to rush something and put something mediocre out there. I definitely want to give you guys the best. So some weekly shows may be very, very short. Or I may opt to not do the regular weekly show and just put out some reactions instead or something like that, just to have some content out there for you guys. But I don't want to do something halfway. That makes sense. I don't want to do it and it not be good. I want to make sure that if you're going to invest your time, I'm going to give you something worthwhile watching. So I appreciate you guys understanding that. Again, nothing wrong with her. She's great. Just playing catch up, but she needs some time and some attention invested in her. So really working on improving that right now. And of course that means more to me than anything, seeing her be successful and win at live. So if I am lacking a little bit, it's not because I'm just a bum. I am reinvesting my time really where it matters most, to be fair. I love you guys, but nothing quite like my baby girl. So no offense, but guys, I appreciate you being understanding about that. And again, couple of months we'll be through with the school year. Everything will get back on track, but may not even notice. Who knows? But I want to mention that just in case, because you guys have been watching for a while and you're kind of like family. We're close. We got a great bond, and you've supported me, and I hope that I've been able to interact with you guys or support you however I can. And like I said last week or the week before that, I'm just so grateful for you guys. I mean, we hit 1,000 subs over on YouTube. We're getting close to, I don't even know where we're at now, probably close to like 300 followers on Rumble, getting close to 3,000 followers on X. Probably we may just be over 2. I don't know. I don't keep track of some of the stuff. The 1,000 subs on YouTube was a big thing, so I was pushing for that for a while. So I know we hit that one, but other than that, guys, I do appreciate all your support all the time. You guys are amazing. So let's see what we got. So like I said, this not this past Monday, but the Monday the prior week, we did the Monday night live stream, which is Monday Night Mayhem. And of course, last Saturday, this Saturday, pretty much every Saturday is Saturday Night Off the Rails over on Third Railify's channel. Guys, if you are not following my boy Sean over on Third Railify, you're missing out. Number one, he put some very interesting stories out there. And when I say very interesting, you don't hear a lot of other people covering these stories. Okay. Pretty wild. Pretty interesting. Two, the delivery. He is, I don't know why, if he could ever do stand-up, I know he would be successful at it. Great delivery, great personality, just awesome guy. Go watch those. But not only that, but he just recently got accepted into the Rumble Creator Program, the Partner Creator Program thing. And so now he's even cranking out more content, more live streams. And so I see him go live all the time, and he's just cranking it out. And he is so easy to listen to and so fun to listen to. You get lost in time and realize it's been 2 hours, and who'd have thunk it? So please go follow him. He's a great follow. And like I said, I'm on his show every Saturday night until he gets tired of me and kicks me off. So Saturday Night Off the Rails, Third Railify, I will pretty much always have that link down in the show notes below, so you can go check out his channel. And I do encourage you to do so. And there's plenty of other people. I'll talk about them from time to time, but that's my boy. So go support him if you're not already. I think that's going to cover most of it. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got on today's show. So the left is dangerous. We knew that, but we're going to talk about that a little bit, I guess. Robert Pattinson on the Batman 2, some of his thoughts, and I may throw some of my thoughts out there, and you guys may already be aware of what some of my thoughts are. Let's see what else we got. Things are better, but don't ask the media. little double-edged on that one. And finally, like I mentioned earlier, we do have an interview with Beyond Formal, another streamer, great guy. And we're going to be talking about a protest that he went to, and he interviewed some of the lefties that were there and what that was like. Yeah, so got a great show, I think. Pretty short, but fun. I like my friend Gina from Mom's Mysteries and Mayhem. See that segue? I just plugged another channel. Plugged it. So go check out Gina. I'll leave her channel linked in the show notes below too. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get going with the clip of the week. Look, I know things are getting better with the relationship with Ukraine, everything in Ukraine and Russia. But again, I didn't have a show last week, so I kind of feel like a lot of the clips that were dropped were probably from the prior week. And that one was just funny to me and a little scary with the whole AI thing, if you think about it, right? But once again, no shocker at all. This one comes from a good friend of the show, Leah. She's awesome. She's amazing. I've mentioned her before several times that she's got a boyfriend that he is one of the firefighters that's out in California. And he's been out there, going to task, taking care of things during the wildfires and whatnot. And she got to spend some time with him and said that they got to watch the show together. And he laughed at me. I'm assuming I was saying something funny and he wasn't just laughing at me dying on camera. We'll go with that. But Leah, I'll leave her links down below so you can go check her out too. But guys, if you don't know, follow me on X. I do post every week for a call for clips of the week. I like to show something silly, funny, entertaining, interesting, thought-provoking, whatever it may be. And it's a way to interact with you guys. So, would love to give you a shout out when you see the call for the clip of the week. Drop your links down there. Drop the videos down there. Even if you don't see it, just hit me up, tag me, whatever. I'll check it out and would love to give you a shout out. But it's just another way to kind of interact with you guys as best I can. This isn't live going out, so it's one of the best things I can do. A for effort, right? Thank you again, Leah. You rock. All right, so let's talk about our very first story today. This is the left being dangerous. So we know that the left is very, very dangerous. We've seen that all throughout, I won't say all throughout time, but that may be a slight exaggeration. But all throughout, like the BLM riots, Antifa riots, basically blank riots, whatever, you just fill in the blank. The only thing they've ever pointed to for conservatives, or ever been able to point to, is January 6th. Oh, but my January 6th. January 6th wasn't all that bad. It is worse than it should have been. I'm not a fan of what happened on January 6th, even though the heart was, I understand where the messaging was. I understand what the thought was. But things happen that I'm not exactly proud of. To be fair. But when you look at the other side of it, whether it be BLM, Antifa, or whoever, you have leftist politicians, leftist celebrities, news media like running cover for these guys, saying, I'll post bail for you. I'll take care of you. Keep rioting in the streets. Keep unrest going. I'm okay with that. They're encouraging it. And to me, those people should probably be locked up. If anyone's listening, I'm just saying, No one asked for my 2 cents, yet there it is. But we see that continuing right now, even with little things. When I think about, again, filmmaker, nerd, I think about films, right? If there's a film, what was that film? I'm drawing a blank now. I just thought about it, but it's from Angel Studios. It was the one about the...
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it.
Jim Caviezel was in it, and it was with the child trafficking. Can't remember the name of it, so sorry. somebody can leave it in the comments and let me know, because I'm a little, you know, but yeah, anyways, it was about that. You had all these stories anyway. Studios didn't want to take the film, or fire alarms getting pulled, or, you know, what have you. And all this to shut down the film and the film's reach and the film's success, right? Then you got leftist films that come out, and I don't even call that a right-leaning film. It's just a film based off a true story, which truth has a right lean to it, of course. But then you got these left-leaning films out there like, oh, you know, we don't even want conservatives watching our films or reading our comic books or watching our TV show. And then we don't watch, we don't buy, we don't go to the theater. And then the films bomb, or the comic books tank, or the shows have to go off the air, they get canceled. It's like, it's because of MAGA. And all we did is just not show up. You know, kind of like the blackout, February 28th shopping blackout. I don't know how that worked out for those people, but I hadn't heard any more. So I'm thinking it wasn't as impactful they wanted. Point being, that's how we protest. That's what we do is we cut off our subscriptions. We make our little voice be heard on X or whatever. It's like, oh, I don't think it should be this way. And what you don't see is people on the right, typically, out in the street, super gluing their hands to the concrete, to art, to each other, you know, blocking traffic, burning down buildings, killing people, you know, or like this, where we've got like Robbie Starbuck. And this is, again, nothing new on the story, but I'm just painting a picture here, okay? So I'm pulling from this one story. But Tesla's under attack, right? It says right now there's massive cyber attack being carried out against X. The left is organizing and funding acts of terror against Tesla. Left-wing short sellers are trying to sink Tesla's stock. Media is coordinating with Democrats to attack Elon. Now it's time for us to have his back like he's had ours. And of course, you know, he's encouraged him to do stuff to support Tesla and all these other things. Rumble was being DDoS attacked. X was being DDoS attacked. Tesla is being literally attacked. Physically attacked. What do you mean, Chris? Okay. So if we hadn't seen it, this is some from this past weekend. Tesla Cybertrucks were being set ablaze, vandalized, destroyed, and it's not cool. It's not cool. People are coming in and burning private property, destroying private property, and it doesn't stop there. There's, I was gonna say, I thought I remember this. You can see like the videos of them setting this stuff ablaze, and then you've got even more right here. Tesla faces vandalism and protest amid backlash against Elon Musk. They don't like. They don't like where Elon aligns himself politically. But they worshipped the ground the man walked. Does not sound familiar. Everyone loved Donald Trump. He was in movies. He was made an appearance in the WWE or WWF, whatever it was at the time. He was in all these rap songs. Like, everybody loved Trump. They wanted to be like Trump. They want to be rich like Trump. He was funny. Everybody loved the guy. And all of a sudden, I'm going to run for president as a Republican. And then boom, done. Done. They didn't want nothing to do with him anymore. Elon Musk. Everyone wants EV this, EV that. Elon's like, okay, I'll bring you Tesla, top of the line, the best of the best. They loved him. Loved him. They even loved that Cybertruck at first. Which I can't get over the Cybertruck. It's a funky looking thing. Really funky looking. I saw one yesterday with my daughter. Like, is that a Cybertruck? She goes, yeah. So what do you think about it? She goes, Like, yeah. That's just me. A man with great taste. But all of a sudden he's like, okay, well, I'm going to align with conservatives because the left have pushed me away. Like, okay, well, now everything that you do sucks. You're a nobody. You're an idiot. You're a terrible billionaire. We don't trust you. We're going to literally burn down your businesses. And there's plenty other I could have shown. They've been showing up to the dealerships, breaking windows, vandalizing cars with spray paint and whatnot, which I don't know if that has an impact because I think it just washes off. But yeah, harassing employees and everything. This is the left. And this is the thing. You got to remember, when Trump was running the first time or when he's running the second time, I can't remember. Remember the call that we've got a MAGA over here? There was a guy wearing a MAGA hat in his truck. Somebody walked up and shot and killed him because of his political alignment. Like, I'm gonna be completely frank with this. Most people, be prepared to get a little miffed with me on this one, maybe. Most people, whether on the left or the right, don't know enough about politics to want to be in political war with the other side. Both sides only know what they've been told by the media. We're going to get into the media and their manipulation and a tale of words, word salads, manipulation there, misinformation, misdirection, whatever you want to call it, in a moment. But again, when you look into it and you dive into it, like we do on our channel, again, Third Railify, Handy News, the Washcast, I mean, I can go on and on. When you watch these guys and they do the deep dives, what do you find? You find that every side is corrupt and awful and terrible, and that you find some good ones here and there. What I have found is the majority, if any good ones that are in the bunch, do tend to be on the right. And that's not even my personal bias, because I don't even know if I align with the Republican Party necessarily. I'm definitely more on the conservative side in so many ways. I'm a Trump supporter right now in so many ways. I don't love everything he's ever done, and I won't stand behind him for everything he's done in his past. I won't make excuses for things he's done. That's his job. He's got to handle business. But as commander-in-chief, as president, as our leader, yeah, I like the man. I like where he's at. I'm glad he's there. But watch out for the left, guys. And I don't mean that as like a call to action or anything like that, but I will say, be safe, take care of yourself. We are the side that tends to lean toward the Second Amendment support there. So do what you do, right? But be careful out there. Have your head on a swivel. Be careful who you have conversations with too. We just saw recently, and part of me wanted to pull that up, but it's just such a tragic story. But we're hearing Alex Jones is being targeted. We already know one of his staff was, we had one of his staff was killed recently, and then another one was just swatted. I think 2 or 3 times in a row, or maybe more. I forget. But we're seeing people on the right that are outspoken are being targeted. Some people are saying it's from Ukraine ties, which of course that could be U.S. government ties as well, but that's a whole nother web to spin there. But be careful out there, guys. Look out for each other. And I would say this too, and it's hard to do sometimes, but again, I guess maybe it's my faith background that makes me feel this way, but still love each other. We can disagree and still love each other. We can have an argument and squash it and be cool with each other. I didn't vote against you. You didn't vote against me. We voted for different things, but we can still be friends. We can still get along. Now, if they don't want to, they don't want to. If you don't want to, you don't want to, whatever. But I've got a lot of people I've lost that are like that. And again, they're not educated enough in politics. They're not deep enough in there to really act the way they're acting. They're just going off a primal instinct and what they're being fed by the media and their peers, to be fair.
To be fair.
All right, this next story we're going to get into here is everyone's favorite Batman, Robert Pattinson, ladies and gentlemen. Robert Pattinson is, he was the Batman here recently. And for those that don't know, I didn't like him as the Batman, nor did I like the movie. There was too much going on and not enough going on at the same time. Sounds ridiculous, but for the world's greatest detective, he solved those things too fast still, those riddles. I mean, it's just, there's no mystery, there's no build-up. There was so much there that could have been done, and they just tried to shoot everything quickly, it feels like. Try to get through the story quickly. And of course, I did not like emo Robert Pattinson. For this story, we're going to turn to bounding into comics. It says Robert Pattinson knows he is getting too old to be a starting out Dark Knight. I'm going to be effing old. I'm going to be effing old Batman by the sequel. It says Mickey 17 star Robert Pattinson said aloud what we are all thinking, proving he is well aware that the Batman 2 is taking too long to develop. The actor, who was in his early 30s when he was originally cast as the emo Caped Crusader, is now closer to 40, meaning the point is getting lost. His Dark Knight was supposed to be starting out in his second year as a vigilante, but Pattinson is getting too old to pull it off, even if he looks youthful. I started out as a young Batman, and I'm going to be effing old Batman by the sequel, he admitted in an interview with Hero magazine. When the Mickey 17 co-star Naomi Aki asked him if he was 35, Pattinson responded, "I'm 38. I'm old." However, he emphasized his good health. "I'm old, but I'm healthier," the Twilight actor added. "I think I've actually brought my biological age down a bit." I'll say this, dude's in good shape. He's not in Batman shape, I thought. And there was a lot of conversation around that where he wouldn't get into shape, or the shape they wanted for the role. It's kind of like, as well. I'm like, why can't you do that, dude? Like, at least do that. Blow me away. So I'll say this. When they announced that Ben Affleck was going to be Batman, I was like, And it turns out he was probably one of the best Batman. Like, he was just vicious. He was jacked. He did good, man. I liked old Affleck as Batman. I really did. Wish he was in better films, but is what it is. As far as this one goes, guys, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. It's just the Batman 2 is taking a long time. You guys know DC's being kind of revised and everything with James Gunn taking over, and don't know what's going on with the Batman 2. I would probably go see it. I saw the Batman in theaters, so I'd probably go see the Batman 2 in theaters too with some friends. I don't care. I haven't had time to watch The Penguin, even though I heard it was phenomenal. It ends up my alley, being a gangster kind of series, and I love that kind of stuff, but I haven't had time to watch it, so I'm not vested in it. And if the Batman 2 was any kind of carryover from that, like Marvel's been doing with their shows and everything, I'm already lost and I won't enjoy it. But yeah, I didn't love Robert Pattinson as the Batman. Don't care about the Batman 2, but I would go see it just to see what they do with it. The Batman is one of my favorite characters for sure. So kind of invested into the character, I guess you would say. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think. Are you ready to see the Batman 2? Do you think they should just squash it, recast, start all over again? Because that's kind of the way I feel, honestly. All right, guys, we're going to look at this last segment here, and it's kind of a double-edged thing here. There's some good news, but there's some bad news. To be fair. Most of you guys are already aware of the bad news. If you're watching this show, you're pretty much aware of the bad news. You've accepted this as bad news, and now you know how to avoid it or how to use it to your advantage or see through it. Okay? And the two things I'm talking about is, one, things are getting better. The economy's getting better. Prices are going down. Things are sounding great, right? But the media is the negative. The media is the downside. The media is saying, like, oh, well, it's not up to what it should be, or, oh, the prices are dropping, but not fast enough, or, hey, actually, prices dropping could be a bad sign. Trump could really be messing things up. The manipulation is just insane. If the left, and I do say the left because mainstream media is like, what, 90, 95, 99% left leaning. Maybe I'm off a little bit on that, but you guys get me. Their messaging is so out of touch that if they didn't have misinformation, they wouldn't have any information. When you listen to the politicians talk, which I can't do right now, apparently. When you listen to politicians talk about everything Trump's doing, he's cutting Medicaid, he's cutting Medicare, he's cutting Social Security. He's not going to lower taxes on tips and overtime. It's like literally that's everything he said he was going to do and everything he's working to do. Why would you say he's not? You don't think that it'll go through? That's different than saying he's not. You're saying that I can't even go through the list right now, guys. How much misinformation is out there from the left? And of course, the thing is, I would assume there are marketing agencies within both political parties, all political parties. There's only two that really matter, the way things are going. But there's marketing firms, marketing agencies, people with degrees out the yin-yangs, in these organizations telling them how to say things, what phrases to use. We just saw it recently. Again, nothing authentic about the left either, with all those video clips. I'm not going to play it. Everybody else has covered it. But all those little TikTok clips of all these politicians saying, the clip of Trump, he said he's going to lower prices. Bleep. That ain't what's going on, or whatever it was. And it's like 40 people with the same video. The same marketing person was behind it. It is desperation right there. And again, inauthentic, which is what the left is. Can't stand listening to most of them. They want to be somebody they're not. And the right, and I even talk about, I'll talk about that probably with Brandon from Beyond Formal here in just a moment. Trump is authentic, but not necessarily relatable, but his perspectives are relatable. And because he's authentic, he pulls you in. Whereas the left may say more flattering things, or maybe there's things there that are a little bit more relatable, but you can't really tell because they're so inauthentic. They never show their true selves. It's astonishing the amount of people that don't see through it. So we're just going to flip through real quick. Not going to read these. Guys, any articles that I've gone through today, any clips, any whatever, they'll be linked down in the show notes below. Go behind me, read, in depth everything I'm talking about. Make sure I'm not twisting words or anything like this. So this comes from Forbes. Egg prices 10% jump last month amid bird flu outbreak. Here's what to know. Now, this is updated March 12th, right? And then right here, March 12th, despite consumer prices increasing just 2.8% compared to last year, and the index for food increased just 0.2% in February, the consumer price index revealed egg prices continue to rise, increasing 10.4% from January to February. January to February on March 12th. Okay. Of course, this talks about, President Donald Trump's administration looks to quell the concerns. All right. Thank you, Forbes. What does Newsweek say? Oh, egg prices plummet. Holy crap. That's kind of a different take, isn't it? Different verbiage. Let's see what these guys say here. New data suggests that soaring egg prices, which became a flashpoint issue during last year's presidential election, may finally be falling. Figures released by the U.S. Department of Agriculture show that the average cost of 1 dozen eggs is now significantly cheaper than in recent days. The economic indicator website, Trading Economics, shows that a dozen eggs were $5.51 on Tuesday, more than $2 cheaper than an all-time high of $8.17 in March. So we started out the month at $8.17, and now we're saying it's $5.51. I think this is the site that has. Maybe. Just kidding. Yeah, they have a little graph here. I think I got a better graph right here, though. Yeah, same graph. I can actually drag it. No, I want to go here. This is from the Trading Economics site. So if you look here, ladies and gentlemen, you can go back here. This is March. So here we are, the tippity top of the top, right there. March 4th. President Trump has been in less than 2 months, right? Was it January 20th? So February 20th, March 4th, talking about a month and a half, month and 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden, I mean, he still hasn't been in 2 months yet. Look at that. That's significant, guys. I mean, yes, it's only, what, $2 we said? Right around $2. That's significant, though. A couple of things, of course, we know that the price of eggs shot up for a couple different reasons. One, it was the bird flu thing, and then they're out there killing all these chickens to try to prevent the bird flu from spreading, whether they needed to or not, right before Trump got elected or was sworn in. So it kind of feels like might have been another little fishy thing they did. Just saying. But you see, when Trump says, okay, and pull the trigger, boom, prices drop. Granted, he said day one this would happen. But you know what? The Biden administration said they came in with an inflation rate that was incorrect. And they ran off of that. They said it was like 9.8%. It was really like 2.4 or something like that. I'm going off the top of my head. And they said, well, the conditions were there for it to be 9.8. So that's what we said. Okay, if that's the case, let's take that. Trump, with his fossil fuels and other regulations and removing of red tape that he did on day one, is making the way for prices to go down. So then he made them go down on day one. Don't like that take? Screw you. All right, next up. From the Washington Examiner, gas prices, fuel costs continue to fall across the country. That's right, baby. Gas prices continue to fall throughout the nation on Tuesday, bringing financial relief to people as consumer prices rose in other areas. The national average price for a gallon of regular gas dropped to $3.08, according to AAA. It's the latest decrease in the fuel sector this month after gradual increases at the pumps in February. Today's costs are lower than the gas prices from a week ago, and when it was $3.09, so a whole cent. Point is, it's going down, right? And where are we at? It's not a great chart. I feel like I have a better chart somewhere. Maybe I don't. But you're going to see these prices drop. Again, Trump's moving on it. And they acknowledge it. Gas prices are dropping. Thank you, Washington Examiner. Hey, here's CBS News. What do they say? Oh, why experts say low gas prices could be a sign of economy in trouble. Like, there's no winning with these people. You complain that the gas price is too high, and then they're like, all right, well, we're going to bring them down. Oh, well, that could mean something bad. It's like with the Ukraine-Russia thing. It's like, we want this war to end. And Trump's like, okay, let's end this war. It's like, oh, well, then you're working for Russia. What are you talking about? I'm trying to keep people from dying. Let's do something here. Well, if you're not backing the war and continuing it going, then you're clearly a Russian puppet. He's like, bro, I can't win. Same thing here. Gas prices are coming down. They're like, oh, well, it might actually be a sign of something bad happening. All right, let's go to the next CBS article. Inflation rate rose by 2.8% in February. CPI report shows here's what that means for price relief. So it rose by 2.8%, right? Okay, let's look at NBC, or CNBC rather. Inflation rate eased to 2.8% in February, lower than expected. It almost sounds like they're saying two different things. They're saying the same thing, but it's how they twist the words, how they twist that information. You're going to hear this nonstop, and you've already heard it. If you're watching this, come here. If you're watching me, you've already heard it. The manipulation of words. And I've got a segment called Words. I'm gonna roll that out probably this year and just talk about how words are being misused or misutilized or what have you. But when they say like the right and Trump and everybody hates immigrants and immigrants built this country, like no one's talking about immigrants. We're talking about illegal immigrants, illegal aliens, people that are here illegally, not just immigrants, but they will conveniently live out illegal when they talk about immigrants because they want you to believe that it's all immigrants. They do that for various different things. They manipulate words. You know who else manipulated words early on, if I remember correctly in the book I read, but the devil. I'm just saying. Just saying. I'm not saying that Democrats, I'll get it right eventually, Democrats are evil or anything like that. I'm not saying that the mainstream media is run by evil oligarchs and, sinister people pulling the strings. Nothing like that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that words are hard. Well, guys, I am super, super excited. I'm going to go ahead and close out today's show with a very special guest. I got Brandon from Beyond Formal coming on. The guy is, he's a cool guy. First time I saw him was on, actually, it was his channel, but he had Rob. I usually just say the Washcast, but Robert from the Washcast was on his show, and I got to watch him. I'm like, okay, I like this guy. He's a pretty sharp guy. I'm gonna start watching him, following him, and everything. And I did, and I catch him every now and then. Caught him in some other little groups streaming as well, and pop in and say hi. But I caught him when he was going to a protest. I was like, this dude has some balls. Let's see where this goes. So I watched some as I could and try to get it out there and get more people to watch it. And I was like, this dude's, feet on the ground, man on the street during a protest. I'm excited about this. It's stuff that I can't do. My job doesn't allow me to do it. I don't have the time to do it. I don't have the funds to do stuff like he's doing. And of course, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, his audience chipped in and helped him fund this little project he was working on. So we're going to look at some clips. We're going to talk about some stories, and I'm just thrilled to have him on. And guys, I'm going to start doing this a little bit more. I know a couple of weeks ago I had Society Reviews on. Absolutely excellent interview there. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to have someone else on. We're going to talk about some politics stuff, and I'm hoping to talk about some entertainment news, especially here in Georgia, the entertainment climate, how things have shifted and changed, and how he plays a role in it. A very, very big guest in my book, to me. So I'm thrilled about that. More on that as we get closer. But yeah, I'm not going to leave them waiting. The man, the myth, the legend is here in the house. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Brandon from Beyond Formal. All right, man. Thanks so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. I've seen you on your channel. You had a good friend of mine, Robert Herr from the Washcast, on, and that was my introduction to you. And I was like, okay, this guy looks like a youth pastor. I could watch his show. This is great. So followed you. I do catch you just randomly live. I know the other day you were on your way to a protest and just testing out the mic and everything. And I was like, hey, man, how's it going? And yeah, and then you ended up going, you drove, and that's what I was wanting to talk to you a little bit about. You drove to an active protest that was going on. Didn't look like it was the Million Man March or anything out there like that. But
right,
it was a good few folks that were out there going on. But yeah, before we dive into that, who are you and who you with and what you got going on, brother?
Okay, so it's funny that you said I look like a youth pastor, because I was for I don't know how many years. It's many years. So apparently I still have the look.
You got the look.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, who I am, Brandon Shane. I host a weekly podcast, Beyond Formal. It's every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. I just got accepted into the Rumble Creators Program, so now
Nice.
I'll be doing a premium live stream at the end of every normal stream for about an hour after my normal stream's done, and we're doing deep dives into things. That's the series right now. It's gonna be like a 5 to 10 part series of deep dives of different things that I'm interested in. So we're doing Bohemian Grove, Joshua Tree, the Deep State, things like that. It's gonna bounce a little bit from like the conspiracy type and the paranormal Joshua Tree type to like politics, like the Deep State, and just things of that nature. But that's really who I am right now. I'm co-hosting the Whiskey Capitalist podcast on Mondays, but I'll be done with that at the end of March, and he's going to get somebody else in. I'm just kind of like filling in as an interim kind of co-host. But it's such a fun show. So if you guys haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It's a fun show. They go Monday and Wednesday. But yeah,
Okay.
That's really who I am. I love attending protests and going to man on the streets, and we can talk about that a little bit more. And I want to talk about the sign that I'm going to hold up at the next protest once we hit that part.
I can't wait. So I caught you doing that. I have seen you on the Whiskey Capitalist. Enjoyed them, and randomly ran into you there, and I was like, "Hey, I remember that guy."
That's
And
right. That's right.
and yeah, great show. And something I love is that there's all these different media groups that are forming, and all these cliques and ties and relationships, and nobody's being a douchebag and saying like, we don't want any affiliation with you. We don't want to talk to you. We got our own little clique here. I'm a filmmaker.
Mhm.
And in my community, there's people that are like, well, I only work with this person, or I only work with that person. I'm like, well, whatever then. And so we got our little clique, and I'm like, please, by all means, work with other people. And I love that about what we're doing now. I mean, we are the media, right? Elon was saying it, everybody's echoing it, and us coming together is really outweighing what the impact the mainstream media has, and we saw that in this past election, which is fantastic. Long overdue, but it's great. And I'm thrilled. So I won't keep running my mouth, but for you, sir. So you're up in the Indiana area?
Yeah, all the way up north.
Okay, all right. And there was a protest that you went to. How'd you find out about it? Why'd you go to it? What was your intentions that morning that you were going to go do this, or did you just happen to randomly run across and go like, that looks like fun?
Oh yeah, I definitely intended on doing it. So I've been looking at protests to go to for a while, and this one was close enough. It was a drive. Don't get me wrong, it was a drive. So the week before, I had found it, and on my Tuesday show, I was like, guys, I don't always ask this, but I'm gonna raise some money, and if you can throw me a couple bones so I could rent a car and have gas, I'm going to this protest. And sure enough, they sent me a slight more than what I actually needed for going down there and getting back and whatnot. It was a little bit more than what I needed, which is perfect.
Awesome.
And I'm going to continue doing that stuff. Definitely was intentional, and I went there with a plan. I went to the DNC as well, last year, and I didn't really have a big plan for that. I was like, I'm going to go there and just talk to people. It was good. It was fun. I strayed off course when, the anti-Israel people or whoever they were when they bust down the wall, the fence of the DNC. I was
Okay.
over there, so I try and get to the violence section, but it wasn't good for TV. Where
Mhm.
I should have just kept going with asking people questions, which I went back to, but it could have been way better. So this time I went with a clear intent plan, and I had like 4 or 5 questions lined up. Didn't get to all of them, but at least I had a plan going, and it was a lot more interesting this time around than it was last time. So the next time I go, it's going to be better. Next protest, or even just man on the street, anything I do, I'm going to go grab a sign. And I meant to do it for this indie protest, by the way,
I remember
but
you
Dollar
mentioning
General
it.
did not sell poster boards. And I'm going to bring a sign that says, I support mass deportation. And I'm sure it's going to turn some heads. So it's going to be a good time.
So you went. I don't know what growth media is, and I don't know who Mike is. But I will say I loved it. I loved it so much. You were live, and I was like, I got to share this. Let's blow this thing up. Of course, nobody follows me. I'm a nobody, but I was like, let's do what we can. And I was like, Brandon's out here doing a great job. And then I was still watching it, and he goes, Mike. And I'm like, oh crap, is it Mike? I thought it was Brandon. And so I re-edited the post and everything. I was like, oh crap, but I thought it was great. So a couple of people I remember you talking to, I just kind of want to point out. And look, I'll say this. There are some things that I think we can all get on board with, the left, the right, up, down, whatever. And there were some good points brought up. A lot of people saying like, I don't like big government. I don't think anybody likes big government, but you spoke to someone who was running for a congressional seat, if I'm remembering correctly.
Congressional candidate Jackson Franklin. Yep.
And I will say this before I go into it. He reminded me of an excited, like, 5th grader or something, talking about politics. Like, I just want to make sure we take care of all people, and we can all agree on that, right? And he just had that. If you've ever seen, and of course, being a youth pastor at one point, the like children, when they get into that mode of like mocking or mimicking someone who preaches, is like, and then the Lord is like, no, you don't have to talk like that. You don't have to do that. But he did. It's like, this is not the way you talk. This is not who you are. And he went into that gear, and he presented to you his platform, his talking points, which again fell a little short. He's like, I don't want big government. And then he says he does basically want big government for certain things. And what that was an interesting conversation. The other guy that kept speaking up, I kind of like some of the stuff he said. I was like, you're pretty base, dude. You're teaching about farming. You're teaching about firearm safety. You're teaching about all kinds of stuff. I was digging that. But what'd you think about Mr. Politician Man?
Mr. Politician Man, I don't know how old he was, but he was I think I compared him to like the mindset of a 15-year-old in a 25-year-old's body.
There you go.
And very similar to what you're thinking as well. And he just did not know what he was talking about.
We just need to take care of people and make sure they're happy.
This guy was like, he had good intentions, but even the intentions were wrong because he wants wrong things. So, he thinks he's doing good for the people, but it really would be hurtful in the long run, I guess is what I'm getting at with that.
Yeah.
Nice enough guy. Don't get me wrong. Nice enough guy. But he's going to lose. He's going against Victoria Spartz, by the way.
Okay.
And she's, she gets herself out there quite a bit. And she does a good job. I don't know much about her because I'm not anywhere close to my district, but she does a good job. This guy, she will just totally demolish him in a debate. I mean, I'm a nobody. Who am I? I don't know everything, but even the little bit that I knew, I was able to out debate him or whatever you want to call it. It wasn't really a debate, just conversation. But he had nothing for anything that I told him, and then he'd be like, okay, I don't know. Let me look into that. And then he'll change the subject to where he never actually looked into anything. He would grab his phone, but never look into it. But what if it's not like that?
Wait, what? It is like that.
Well, how do you know if you don't know any of the
I don't know the numbers, but I know that it's like that. I can look at. Let's find. I mean,
let's look it up right now. And I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just. I don't want to put any false information.
No, yeah. Yeah, I'd rather get it right than what was it? Something about the border.
He did it 2 or 3 times. I was like, this. It is what it is with this guy, Jackson Franklin running out of Muncie, Indiana for Congressional District 5. Definitely don't vote for him. He will not be good for you guys in Indiana. But, growth media, that was grown on the way to Indy. And I was just thinking to myself, talking to people, it's like, if I tell them Beyond Formal, they're going to look me up. They're not going to want to talk to me because you're going to see, I don't know if I could say tranny, but they're going to see a thumbnail that says tranny on it. And I don't hate transsexual, transvestite, transgender people or anybody like that. But, one of the thumbnails says tranny on it. They're going to be like, oh, we're not talking to this guy. Which I did have some of those, by the way. Don't talk to this guy. He's right wing.
Yeah.
And
what gives it away is that you brought facts to the table and you were having honest conversations. You weren't sticking to the pre-established talking points that they all stuck to, and I don't mean to cut you off, but to move you on a little bit here with another one. And when I say another one, like most of them, Trump and Elon are cutting Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, all this, and you were like, okay, what's your reference? Where have you ever heard that? Oh, just talking to people. And you talked to one of the last ones you talked to was clean up water and all this and that. I don't know if that was a man or a woman.
Are you seriously asking me that question?
But they didn't have time to educate you on everything, but they didn't know where any of the information was.
They're trying to take away Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, veterans' rights, trans.
Where are you seeing this at? I haven't seen this stuff.
Looking around,
So nowhere specific, just kind of.
I mean, there's too many sources to try and list them all for you.
One.
Okay, so I'm feeling like we really aren't on the same page. And I don't have the time to educate you on everything right now.
Do you think that this is just again? I mean, obviously, it's a talking point that's coming from the left, and is it being pushed out there by the mainstream media? Or is it the politicians, or is it a mixture of everything? Why are they buying into this so easily?
Yeah, it's a mixture. When you're a leftist, it's a hive mind. So you don't have a central thought. Like we might have opinions that are similar, but your thoughts are different. You develop those opinions whether it's through research or even hearing people talk, but you think it through. Them, everything is a talking point. The guy running for Congress is running on talking points. That's it. He has no basis to anything that he was saying, which is why Joe Schmo from Growth Media was able just to, go right back at him with facts. And he's like, oh, I don't know. And even the one guy was like, are you trying to battle us? I'm like, no, man, I'm just giving facts. I said I don't want fake information.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah.
And but Growth Media, by the way, I decided Growth, and I said, get the right out the White House, Growth Media. That's what it stands for. I was like, what's the dumbest thing that they're going to buy? Oh, anything that has the right and get them out. So
yeah, there you go.
It took about 3 seconds for me to figure it out. But yeah, that's
that's their mindset.
That's what it is they have a hive mind. And then they go on Facebook, 50501, by the way. That's where I found this. And I've been keeping tabs on 50501, 50501. They're in every state. So if you type in 50501 Indiana, 50501 Illinois, whatever it is, you're going to find that specific group. And then the 50501 in general, you'll find that as well. I sound like a broken record, but I'm talking about different groups of the same hive mind.
Sure.
That's where I found it. They give the talking points in there. And if you ever go on Facebook and check them out, they're all going to look the same.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, different people posting, but they post the same thing. And it's just weird to me. It's actually kind of scary because in not a long time, these are going to be your leaders. Depending on where you live, if they're in a blue area, those are your leaders. Those are your politicians. It's a little scary.
It is. It's very scary. One thing that's not super scary and is really encouraging is that we're seeing so many young voters going conservative now.
Yes.
It's such a surplus and that such a growth in that area, and it's exciting to see that, and even people that aren't young that have shifted over to the right. A lot of it, like you said, is because you have to have this hive mind mindset, even though MAGA's the cult. You got to have this leftist mindset. You got to be in lockstep. Otherwise, you're like a leper. Get away from me. Get out of here. I mean, Trump, Democrat, RFK, Democrat, Tulsi, Democrat. You look at all these Democrats that are now Republicans, basically because the party left them. And someone that you talked to, and I was really interested to listen to things he said. Some of it I haven't had a chance to fact check, but it was the older gentleman who was sitting down with the red shirt. And of course, he said, Medicaid, all this and that. He said something, and it's always echoed in these groups. And of course, he was one of the biggest ones, was the millionaires, the billionaires, and a couple of them even tripped up and said trillionaires, which is funny to me.
And now they're cutting $1 trillion, but instead of putting it towards reducing the federal debt, they're using it to fund tax cuts for trillionaires and billionaires. Actually, there's no trillionaires. They're using it to fund tax cuts for the 1%. People who have already so much money, there's no way they could spend it all.
But there's such a disdain for successful, wealthy people on the left. I believe that we have created a society, and especially on the left, that rewards mediocrity, victimhood. You were the real champs. You were the real heroes. It's not the people who have built businesses from the ground up or made wise investments and grown businesses and then employed people. If we went back to how this country was formed, and any country is formed, it was all business owners, families having their own businesses. Now we got people that do that for us, and we can go work for them without having to have the overhead and the land and everything. People forget about all that. We are so spoiled. But he was one, and he shocked me because of his age. But I understand that, they all come in different shapes, sizes, colors, ages, and everything. But he was like, yeah, these millionaires and billionaires are getting tax cuts, and they're cutting these trillions of dollars, but then they're moving them over here to tax cuts. I'm like, I don't think that's right. Were you shocked to hear his talking points, or are you like, yeah, I know exactly what you're going to say?
I pretty much knew about what he was going to say. I was not shocked. I mean, the dude had a "Don't buy a swastika" sticker with an Elon Musk with the Trump, with the Hitler stash. I said Trump.
Yeah.
Sorry. but you kind of saw it coming once he brought up trillionaires and billionaires, which is
Right.
what he said.
Yeah.
But they don't want wealthy people to have wealth. They think it's a bad thing, even
Right.
though all their gods in the Democrat Party, small g gods who they worship, are millionaires, or
Yep.
at least are pretty darn close to it. The Bernie Sanders millionaire, and once he hated millionaires until he became one, then he hates billionaires, and
Yeah,
that's
that's right.
how they work. It's always them, not me, and everybody has to have a bad guy. And so to these people, it's the millionaires and billionaires. They're the bad guys, even though the billionaires gave that guy a job, which allowed that guy to retire if he's retired by now. And that's something they don't understand. It's the millionaires and billionaires that did that, not somebody making $40,000 a year
Correct.
or 20,000. The people on welfare aren't building anything. And there's nothing wrong with being on welfare if you're trying to do something. There's nothing wrong with being on welfare, but you're not building anything, taking. If you have to do it, take when you have to, because that's what the systems are set up for. And that's what I would love to pay my taxes for the poor and the needy and the widows, right? I'm okay with that. But once you start taking advantage of it, then it becomes something completely different. It's a different animal. The government, the left, the Democrat government wants you to depend on them to keep you enslaved. Whether you're white or black or whatever you are across the spectrum, they want to keep you enslaved to them. That's why they want, illegal immigrants here, because they want them to be slaves. They're not technically slaves, but they get paid pennies on a dollar, so to speak. That's why they want them. They're going back to their roots. That's what it is, of the plantation owners. Even I've heard
Absolutely.
black people call it. It's the Democrat plantation. And that's why they want you on the welfare. That's why they convinced this hive mind of leftists to say millionaires and billionaires bad, welfare people good, low payment people good. If you make under $100,000 a year, you're good unless you're coming close to six digits. Then you might be an enemy, and that's kind of how it is. Even though their little g gods are all millionaires, and billionaires.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I'd love to talk to you all night. I'll say one more, or two more things, I guess, real quick about that, and then we'll close out and let you talk a little bit about what you've got coming up again. Definitely promote yourself one more time. But one, how refreshing was it to walk across somebody who was as you said, normal, as you were leaving the protest? Is some guy just walking down the street, and like you said, I could tell he was normal by the way he walked.
Yeah.
Enough said on that. But how refreshing was it to have a conversation with him?
Oh man, I found this guy, talked to him. He's like, "Oh, I'm a Trumper," all that stuff. It was great. What do you feel about Trump? Is he doing a good job, bad job?
Yeah, I mean, I voted for him. I love him. He showed in the first 4 years what he's about.
I saw him walk, and I was like, "Oh, this guy looks mad." But then I thought about it. It's like, no, I just saw a bunch of feminine people, feminine men walking around. It's like, oh, we're going. It is what it is. And I saw this guy walking normal, and I was like, oh, he looks mad. It's like, oh wait, no, he's just walking, and he walked like a normal guy. So I knew he was a Trump guy, or at least a conservative. I don't care if he's a Trump guy, but a conservative guy.
Sure.
And then talk to him. I was like, oh man, what icing on the cake? It's like. It was great. And then unfortunately my phone died, so I didn't get our conversation, but I had a 3-block conversation with him just about where he's from, how he was a Democrat, used to watch 3 hours of CNN a night, and then his eyes opened up and common sense reigned supreme. And it was so refreshing. And it just tells me, like, you know what? Doing this isn't make fun of libs, make leftists cry or anything like that, or make them fumble over their words. They don't know facts. It's the people like you, Chris, people watching, and myself, to see, like, here's their talking points. Here's reality. Sometimes they mix, most times they don't. And it allows people like you and me to watch this and see common sense reign supreme. It's like, okay, well, they're telling me we need to give more money to Ukraine. And then, like, someone like me is going to say, well, we gave them, $300 billion or whatever the number is. And so someone watching is gonna be like, that's a lot of money. You're going to tell me they need more? And then, they start thinking and gears start turning. That's why I do it. It's not to make fun of anyone. I mean, you're going to get that just due to how they are.
Yeah.
But you saw that. I didn't make fun of anybody. I smiled to everyone I was there. Even the ones I trolled, I even smiled at the end where everybody's having fun unless they walk away. I mean, you can't do anything if they walk away. But everyone's smiling at the end. If they get mad or not, it's up to them. I can't control that. But yeah, that's that.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll say about it is one, I hope you do more of them. Two, I would love for you to put a call out for anybody in the area to come with you so they can be your cameraman. Yes. Because I again, as a filmmaker and knowing what it's like to try to get good quality sound, good quality picture, you're over there with a camera doing all this, make sure you're in the shot. It looked like what Rode Pro Go or something like that, maybe Rode Wireless Go or some kind of wireless mic on a stick.
Just a wireless mic, yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, dude, you were doing the best you could. I thought you did great. Man, there was some times where I was like, man, I really wish I could see their face in HD right now, But it is what it is. So you should put a call out for somebody to come help you. If I was in the area, I would roll with you, brother. But I hope you do more. I get a kick out of it, and like you said, reality does have that right lean to it. Where one, when you start spouting out truth, they tend to think you're opposition because they already identify that, right? And two, when people do come to accept reality and accept the truth that's out there, they tend to move to the right. So it's kind of a double-edged thing there, right? So any closing thoughts on that, or anything else you want to promote on your page? And I will say this too, before you go, just your approach to everything, and like you were saying in the opening about things that you do have coming up, is stuff that I like, stuff that I enjoy. One of the things I've always said to people that are doing what we do is when you find people that are authentic and they're not trying to be something they're not, no one's trying to be, when you're not trying to be the Joe Rogan or you're not trying to be the mainstream, you're just being your authentic self, having authentic conversations. People love that and flock to that more naturally. That's another thing we saw in this last election was, you might not be able to necessarily relate to Trump, but the dude's him. I mean, he wasn't putting on a front. He completely authentic, and everything that was thrown out by the left. Kamala, we see all the TikToks that are happening now from the left. There's nothing authentic about that side. It's nuts. So I want to throw that out there because I think that's high praise. Anybody who's out there doing the work, being themselves in the same time and not losing themselves, is awesome. So I love what you do. I can't wait to watch the next episodes. And I love the Bohemian Grove stuff and the deep state stuff. Doesn't matter who's in office. Yeah. That stuff is awesome to look into. A little spooky. A friend of mine has a show called Mom's Mysteries and Mayhem. And she just recently did with Sean from Third Railify was on there, and they were talking about the Denver airport and stuff. Yeah. So I'm fascinated by all that. I love all of it. But go ahead one more time. If you'll promote your channel, close yourself out there, buddy.
Yeah. So I want to just address a little bit what you're saying about the video.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely want a cameraman. And funny enough, you saw Lindy Rigg in the chat of Whiskey Capitalist.
Yeah.
He goes live every Saturday, 8 p.m. Central. He's coming out to a Pride Fest with me in Indianapolis. I'm driving back out there. He's flying out there, and we're going to make a whole day of it. And he's going to be my cameraman. Sometimes I'm going to be holding the stick myself. I'm going to be his cameraman, and we're going to go back and forth. But I was just using my phone. I was live streaming. So to fix the quality issue, I'm not live streaming protests anymore or pray or whatever. I will be just recording it all. That way we get all in HD. And I'm going to be upgrading. What I go out with is not my. I have a Canon camera, an M50 or whatever. I've got my podcasting camera right here, but I've been using my phone. Well, when I go to on June 14th, when I go out there, I'll be using a DJI Action Pro 5. So I should have that by the time June comes around.
Okay.
So it's going to be nice HD, a little bit wider of a frame as well. And that's another thing that hit me pretty hard. Is the frame wasn't wide because I was going live on Rumble Studio, and it doesn't pick. It picks up just portrait, So it's 16 by 9's the portrait, which is why everything was so close. Because I had it out like this.
Yeah,
I had the
yeah.
thing extended.
Well, the camera, it's a wide angle lens on the on the webcams, on the camera is all wide angle.
Yeah.
And you kept talking about how close, and I was like, why is he having such a hard time? But that makes sense if it crops
you
in
can only
like
do
that.
like this. If it doesn't work like this, I'll just be sideways.
Unreal.
So that's another thing I learned. I was like, well, not doing that ever again. Because even if I was holding it myself, holding it sideways landscape mode would give a clearer picture. It'd be a lot easier. But yeah, so I'm upgrading everything. I'm gonna get a cameraman for June. But until then, I've also learned I can't do it with the phone when I'm live streaming, but I can hit the button, flip the camera around, and then I can just point at the person I'm talking to. I don't have to get us both in all the time. Just point at the person I'm talking to, and if I want to, flip it back around and then point, at both of us if necessary. So different things I'm learning. Definitely going to get the hang of it more and more. And then just to promote myself, like I said, June 14th, I am headed out to Indianapolis again for a Pride Fest. I don't care what you guys do, honestly, but when it comes to kids and indoctrinating us with this craziness, does this go on YouTube, Chris?
Yeah.
Okay, I won't say what I was going to say. Sorry for saying the T word earlier.
I don't care. Say it. I don't care. I just got monetized, so I'm under the microscope, I'm sure, on YouTube.
Okay, I'm not going to say it.
I don't care. Say it.
But transgenderism is a hurt yourself cult, if you will. A hurt yourself extremely bad cult, because we know there's a 40% before, and recent studies showed it's even more after. I used to say 40% after as well, but I just read it's even more after.
I have heard that recently
affirmation.
as well.
And that's not okay. And when you teach kids that stuff's okay, I have a big issue with that. I won't hit that too much anymore, but one thing that I'm doing now is I have a buy me a coffee link. It's buymeacoffee.com/beyondformal. You could do one-time donations. I would appreciate it. Every little bit of donation goes to me going to protests and going to doing man on streets in liberal cities and towns. That's what that's for. It's not to pay a light bill. I have a job. I own a business. It's to specifically get me to protests and stuff. One-time donations, great. I think it's $5 a month for a monthly subscription. I would appreciate it. And then there's an extra monthly subscription. It's like $10, and then you could check out the extras. There's not a whole lot of perks, honestly. I'm just doing this strictly to get myself out there. I think the $10 or $15 one a month, you get me for a half hour once a month, one-on-one, bounce ideas off to each other, things like that. And I think you can also kind of influence topics that I speak of. Like, we talk about Bohemian Grove.
Yeah.
You can influence those type of topics, like, hey, what's the next deep dive kind of deal. And then if you watch me live on Rumble, you can always subscribe to Rumble. It's $5 a month. Subscribe to my channel on Rumble, $5 a month. And again, I get 100% of that. So that's like the best place to go, honestly. And Rumble rants. So anything I'm doing on the podcast, anything, all of it now goes to me going to a protest. And because we got to get the truth out there, we have to try to change their minds. That would be great. But for people watching, we want to just develop and edify ourselves to what common sense is. And, I speak a lot about Christianity too. I don't know how everybody feels about that, but I want to get that out there as well. So I'm going to be promoting a pro-Christianity, a pro-common sense, and a pro-conservative aspect onto all of this. It's not going to be troll the libs anymore. And that's not what I did last time either, but it's not going to be troll the libs. You're going to get it. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be entertaining. Just like the guy with the sign. I told him, back up. You got to back up more. No, back up more. You're not in frame yet. Lift it up. Don't, put it down. And it's not, I'm going to do funny stuff like that. But the goal is to be pro-Christian, pro-conservative, and pro-common sense. That's what my channel is all about. Faith, politics, and culture. Faith comes first because it has to. That's where I stand with things. Chris, thanks for inviting me on. I want to do this again, Chris. So yeah. I know I held you to a little bit of a shorter time today, but I want to do this again.
hey, you're in high demand, and I appreciate any time that you give me. And hey, look, if there's any other links that you want me to include, guys, all of his links for his socials will be down there. And I'm going to replace my Buy Me a Coffee link with his. And I don't know if you've got Venmo, PayPal, anything else that you might have out there. If there's anything else I can do, let me know, and I'll put it down in the show notes below. But guys, go support him, because what he's doing is far and away bigger than what we're doing here just on camera. What he's going, he's hitting the streets, talking to people, and converting them maybe to the right, to reality, maybe even to Christianity. And you guys know how much I love that, and how big that is to my heart and my life. And I love that about what you do, brother. And go support him. And again, man, thank you so much for being on. I really do appreciate you knocking out a little time for me, man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you having me come on, because this is fun. I know we're just kind of talking quickly back and forth. Yeah. I love doing this. I do check your stuff out from time to time. I've hit a couple lives, but like you said, they're once a month. I love checking them out once a month. Just that little bit of interaction. And you've been coming around too, so I've been able to interact with you, except for that first time you came around when I completely ignored you. I don't know if you remember that.
You did.
It was such an accident, but I did completely ignore him.
It happens.
So thanks,
I'm
Chris.
still figuring things out myself, so no hard feelings. All right, man, we'll talk to you later.
Thanks.
And as I was saying, all his links to his socials are down in the show notes below. Please go check him out. Give him a follow. Show some support. Again, my Buy Me a Coffee link that I never really talk about, but it's there. I'm taking it out, and I'm putting a link to his Buy Me a Coffee so we can help him fund more things like this. It's huge. It's awesome. It's amazing. I love what he's doing. I want to go show him some support. And not only are his links to his socials down there, I did link to the actual video of him going to this protest and talking to people. So you can see the full protest. My intentions were, if I had him here longer, we would have looked at more clips, broken some stuff down a little bit more, had some fun with it. But of course, he's in high demand, got a lot going on. He's co-hosting other shows like he was talking about. So short time right now. But I'm planning on going on his show at some point and having him back on with me, possibly even on the faith-based stream next month. We'll see. I don't know. You never know how things go. Never know. But anyways, guys, go show him some love, and tell him the Morning Mayhem sent you. Well, guys, that's it. Thank you guys so very, very much for watching. Again, I know it's kind of all over the place, kind of short. I appreciate you putting up with me and being understanding about what I have to do to take care of, my family, especially my little girl, who is my absolute world. And so, again, if you guys see me on X posting anything about the show being hit or miss or late or, whatever, I appreciate you guys being understanding of that. I'm going to do my very, very best to continue to stay consistent and bring you the best that I can bring you, and nothing less. Either that or I just won't bring you anything at all and waste your time. There's that. Don't forget, guys, to like, share, subscribe, follow, all that fun stuff down below. And definitely don't forget to check out Pure Blood Media Group. What a great organization this is. Great conglomeration of awesome content creators and that news aggregator. Chef's kiss. As soon as you go to the page, news.pureblood.media or whatever the link says down below, I think there's a couple that'll point to it. As soon as you get there, the news aggregator opens up, and all those articles that roll across are at least triple source fact checked, okay? So you are getting something that is true, that is authentic, and it's real. Can't say the same about the media that we were looking at earlier. Guys, go check out Pure Blood Media, the link down in the show notes below. If you want to support Brandon from Beyond Formal, his link are down below to his channels, so you can support him there, or you can do the Buy Me a Coffee. That is down in the show notes below. I took mine out. If you want to support me, hey, come on back and buy me a coffee some other time, or watch one of my live streams and support us there. And I do appreciate that. But guys, until next time, I'll catch you guys over on Off the Rails Saturday night, 3rd Railify. See you then.
I saw a billboard. It said estimated lotto jackpot 55 million. See, I didn't know that shit was estimated. That would suck if you want to go, oh, we were off by 2 zeros. We estimate that you are angry.